Welcome to Andrea Lake 101, the making of a billionaire, you guys. This week we have Mr. Trevor from MyCluckHut on Meet the Water Cooler. Trevor, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, obviously go to mycluckhut.com and remember to wash your ass. That's right. If you want to have soap and fight fascism at the same time, you found your place, pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, honestly, right now, what are we even doing? So
Literally.
I know it's just a soap company, but it's definitely, I think everyone's got to figure out what they're doing in their corner of the world. And we decided to build a company that is a giant middle finger to unfettered capitalism, doesn't cluck with bullies, and makes sustainable products as a way to be a part of something bigger than we can be alone, really, because it's overwhelming out there.
It is. It really is. We're going to start with some little icebreaker questions. What is your favorite color?
Oh, yeah, I don't have a favorite color.
You don't?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've never had a favorite color. Isn't that weird? I was asked that as a kid, and I said blue because you had to say blue because you're a boy, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no favorite color.
You love them all equally? That's on that.
I wouldn't say that. There's some that I don't care for. Orange is a color I don't really care for on many levels.
You know, fair.
But,
I'll take it.
No.
Awesome. And then what are you watching on Netflix right now? Are you binging anything on any platform?
Yeah, we've been watching Rooster.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one. Tell me about it.
With Steve Carell. He's
I missed this.
An author that he writes kind of smutty adjacent stuff about a man named Rooster who's kind of the hero, but he's kind of like a little bit misogynistic in a way. But it's like he's writing this story. He writes these books that's like the man he imagines he could be. And he comes to this college. This professor has to come speak, and his daughter also teaches there. And so he comes there and speaks, and chaos kind of ensues as far as like she has been left by her husband, who also teaches there for one of his grad students, and now Steve is being offered to teach there for the semester. And so it's just it's really good. It's well written. It's funny. Steve Carell is perfectly awkward and funny, and yeah, it's been really good. I've been enjoying it.
I'm in, and also it completely tracks that you own MyCluckHut and you're watching Rooster right now.
I know. What are we even doing?
Yeah, right.
Oh, and also, I have a huge cock. I don't know if you've seen my cock.
Absolutely. For those of you listening on audio only, Trevor is showing off his sleeve tattoo.
Yes. Yeah, that's a long ways to go for
people watch both ways. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and who are some of your favorite influencers?
Some of my favorites, obviously Monty Mater. We love her. We love working with her big time. Yeah, and she's just as awesome in person, hanging out. Like she's become kind of a rock in my life, and vice versa. And I do love Tizzy, of course, because Tizzy just calls him out. I love Tizzy.
I love Tizzy too.
Cats on a Couch, because we are petty as well, and so go Amanda every day. Yeah, there's so many. I've got so many. Eliza Orlins, I love her. I love what she brings to the table from the law side. Elizabeth Booker brings it with the heat, on the legal. There's so many great ones out there. And recently, having done a bunch of these different gatherings that we've done in DC and in Chicago recently, getting to spend time with other people that are out there using their platforms for good and progressive voices out there. It is so cool to see that these people are 99% of the time are just like you, just like me. They're just people that got frustrated to the point where they just said, screw it, I guess I'll speak up. And everyone is doing their best. No one knows exactly what they're doing, but we're all doing our best. And Kasim is another great one. Kasim is awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because I've people into the comedian side too, like Steve Hofstetter, who I love, Father Nathan Monk. And, it's so cool to see this broad spectrum of facets of society that are using their platforms no matter what they do, and they're all focusing in on the task at hand, which is fighting fascism in real time. Yeah, so it's great.
I love it. I love all of those creators too. I've never met Monty, so one day I will. I'm very excited. I love her content.
So anyone I didn't mention that I do love, just know that I love you, because there's so many. Dustin Pace, he's another one. Non-toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
I dig his stuff.
Tell me the story of how you and Jennifer started MyCluckHut.
It's a doozy. So
Okay.
then back in 2020, there was this pandemic, you see, and
I recall.
you recall that. And so at the time, it was February, beginning of February, really, and I kind of saw what was coming, and I was like, okay, I understand that viruses are not held back by borders. This will come here, and so I was watching closely in China to see how they were reacting, and then countries nearby and whatnot. So I had an idea of what was coming. Now, never having lived through a pandemic, I just could look at history, which is how we should always plan our futures, by actually looking at the history books, something we did not do this time around. So looking back at the history, I was like, okay, this is what happens. I listening to the professionals, medical professionals, wear masks, etc. So, okay. So we started getting, some beans and rice and stuff kind of together. It was like, we might be home for a while. We don't know. But then March hit, and Jennifer, who works as the director of science and STEAM for Metro Nashville Public Schools, they closed for the pandemic and went to virtual learning. And so now we're stuck at home. And I had retired about 2 years prior. I was a touring drummer for about 17 years. And so I had retired just recently and built a studio at the house, and I was doing like sync licensing and stuff. Really just, I went from playing other people's music on the road to making music that sounded like other people's music for commercials and TV. And it was just a lateral move. And so when the pandemic started, I was depressed. I'm one of those, they call them bleeding heart empaths, painful. The empathy that I feel for everything around me. The beginning of the pandemic was painful for a lot of reasons, knowing what was coming. And I thought to myself, hey, this is it. This is when we as a society, we've been divided with the whole MAGA thing. We will come together. We have an enemy that we don't fully understand, and we'll just follow the experts. We'll wear a mask, we'll social distance, we'll do what we need to do to slow the spread, stop the spread. I forget
Flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve is what they were using. And so,
oh, that's the worst. I'll tell a story about that after you finish.
So I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Let's do this. And we didn't. We went the other way, where we bullied each other. And it just was like, wait, what? No. We take care of each other. So I know this seems as naivety, because in my heart, I didn't think people could get as bad as they've, especially now, gotten. I didn't know there wasn't a bar. You know what I mean? There wasn't a floor. Like, there wasn't a line in the sand. But back then, I guess I thought there was. So March started. Jennifer's working from home. I'm at home. We're drinking a lot of white wine out of the box in the above ground pool. We just got an above ground pool in March. We then got it into February because we knew we were going to be home, and we had just gotten the chickens. And so at home, drinking a lot, making bad chicken jokes. We named our chicken pen the Cluck Hut, and because it's the fuck hut, but chickens. And so Jennifer has her meetings, and everything's in chaos. And so I just started getting really depressed about the fact that people were just being horrible to each other. Yeah. So we, every day we had this man on the TV that would ramble about bleach and UV light up the butthole. And I just started getting really, really down about, I'm thinking about also all the people that are stuck at home with abusers and all the scenarios that could be going on right now. And it's just got me really down about society and all that. And then not long after, we watched George Floyd murdered on TV for 8 minutes and watched him crying out for his mother, and I'm bawling, and I'm like, this is it. This is the moment. We come together as a society. We can all obviously see that was wrong. You don't murder somebody for anything. I mean, and we didn't. We did the opposite. When we said, hey, Black lives should matter, they went, all lives. And I'm like, no. Well, yeah, because that's part of, what do you mean? What is this? What is this argument? Yes, all lives, but we're talking specifically. Jennifer, meanwhile, needed an escape from virtual meetings. And so she had tried paint by numbers. I've never seen someone fail at paint by numbers. That did not work out. And so she started using, she's a scientist. She's got a PhD, but her undergrad and master's in sciences. And so she decided she was going to start trying to create her own soap formula, the perfect soap formula, eco-friendly, sustainable, sensory-friendly, something that, just nerdy. And so as she was doing this, creating this formula, I would try it. Now I have sensory issues, so I didn't typically like bar soap. I don't like it on my skin, etc. But she was getting these formulas that I'm using, and it's like, it's not leaving me filmy. It's not leaving me dried out. And I just started having a lot of fun with it. So she'd have her meetings. I'd set it up and she'd make, and I looked at her one day. I was like, you know what? I'm just so down. I was like, it's either, and I don't say this lightly, it's either blow my brains out or change the world. Those are literally the options I'm at right now, because I hate it here. Okay. And she looked at me and she just goes, change it. That's one of the options, wasn't it? That was one of the options. So I said, you know what? Screw it. Here's what we're going to do. I was like, what if we just build the business that is the reality we want to live in? What if we build it the way, like the world we want to see. So what if we prioritize people always over profit? We prioritize diversity, eco-friendliness, sustainability. What if we just built a giant middle finger to unfettered capitalism in the corporate hellscape? And that's what we set out to do. Now, the reason the chicken puns came in is because at that time, especially even more now, we all needed a laugh. And so it started out with MyCluckHut because it's my fuck hut and whatever. And we had chickens there, and it was just, why name anything? And so then we had my Cluck and Soap bar, and then and all animal byproduct free, palm oil free, no plastic waste, etc. And then what we wanted to do, even though I don't see scent as masculine or feminine, I just see scent as scent. I wanted to do, of course, a cock line, have my Cluck and Cock soap. And so, yeah. And then of course we, had to have an exfoliant, FOWL. And the bad puns just started rolling. Well, what happened was it ended up becoming a thing. We just started a little website at first, and we were just selling the house. We had somebody want to sell our stuff, and it really just started snowballing into this thing where it was like, it was a great formula, first of all, but I really saw what was the potential of it was. Now, when you're somebody who's running a soap company, when you're a 37, how old I was then, 37-year-old man running a soap company out of his house saying, we're going to build a giant middle finger to unfettered capitalism that, upsets the status quo. You don't get the, man, that sounds great. You get the, oh, bless your heart. That's a Southern thing, but that's
do you have a sports car to go with that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, but I realized, I had never the desire to be a billionaire, to be rich, to be wealthy. I never had that desire, the need for power. And I realized that because I don't care about any of that, that I had to go get it because of the fact that I wasn't trying to fill a void I would never fill. And that's what we see with billionaires. I mean, if I had 1 billion refrigerators, I'd be a hoarder. But if you have $1 billion, you're what? Successful? No, the actual 1 billion refrigerators would be worth more than the $1 billion. So the actual saner investment would be the refrigerators if you're going to hoard. So I was like, you know what if we built this the right way? Let's just do it the right way. And so it started out to make it sure we could laugh, but also to show people that they could be part of something bigger than themselves, because that's what I wanted to be. It felt like everything I did was a drop in the bucket. And when it came to sustainability, et cetera. But what if we got 1 million drops together? And those 1 million drops made a wave, and that wave upset the status quo. Now, we can't fight big business head on. They'll drown us every time, but we can't affect their bottom line. So what if we made people the hero of their own story? I want to be the hero of my own story. You want to be the hero of your own story. And we collectively affected the bottom line of big business to the point where big business has to change their ways, where they have to make sustainable choices, where they have to pay a living wage, because we've created a new reality. And that was the concept from the beginning. Have a laugh, but also let's build a community of badass mother cluckers who want to change the world.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I'm obsessed. And Trevor, tell me about your philosophy with that and competition in this space, etc.
So first of all, if you're going to start a business and you have a product, you don't start a business if you think that it has competition. You start a business around a product that nobody can compete with. You could start with something great. Then it's downhill from there. So in my eyes, when people say, well, there's a lot of competition in that space, I don't see other businesses or others, especially other small businesses, as competitors. There's room for all of us. But here's the thing is, cream does rise to the top. And I think that is where business in general, I don't care what you're doing, I don't care what field it is, what space it is, it's really about how the business is done. It's really about the ideology of the business. Have a great product, have great ideology. There's no competition. We find our people. And that's the cool thing about having a business, that we go out of our way to make sure that everything across the board, we're doing it for people, for the planet, is that we get to watch people see what's possible and want to be a part of that world, the world that we actually want to live in, as I said.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how to run an ethical small business, because right now Sticker Junkie also is a small business. We're doing 3.1 million in revenue currently, which is fantastic. We did 1.8 last year. We're aiming to hit 22 this year because we intend to take over the whole sticker industry. We intend to be the biggest player in this space, period. Like, we don't intend for small business. We don't intend to stay as small business, because we truly believe that there will be more than enough people that want to come with a really ethical business that's paying a living wage, etc. But it's very hard to do that before you have the actual dollars to do that. So how are you guys doing that with the ethos that you have from the beginning?
So it is funny because when you're first starting, you need loans
Mhm.
and nobody will
Yeah.
give you one. And
Yeah.
then now I get loan offers 10 times a day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but where were you? Where were you? Where were you when we needed this? So
Literally.
I never wanted to outsource our production. So we do everything in house, which severely
Wow.
slows growth.
Mhm.
Because of the fact that processes have to scale, as well as shipping and the fulfillment, and so it makes it a little more difficult. We have to be very strategic in how we build it. Add on top of that using sustainable ingredients, which are more expensive, and
Mhm.
then no plastic waste, which is more expensive. Yeah, all of that slows growth, and then on top of all of that, not taking venture capital, building it like a band, building it with partners who believe in the core values, that believe in the ideology, that are
Mhm.
part of running the company. So at the very beginning, I brought in the first partner is our partner. Alex is our creative director. And I
Mhm.
offered him 20% of the company. I said,
Mhm.
listen, he's a graphics designer. He's been doing it for 20 years, branding
Mhm.
graphics. I need you to dress us for the job we want, not the job we have. You don't have to buy into the company. I need you. And so he
Mhm.
came on board. We've had two partners that are not with us anymore. They actually, I mean, they moved on amicably. We just got beyond what their capabilities were.
Sure.
Or time constraints. So our lawyer, who he actually bought in for 10,000. He was our neighbor during the pandemic, and he left his money behind when he left. He's just like, you're getting into IP and stuff where I don't have a lot of knowledge base. And
Mhm.
then the woman Shay, who built our first website, worked with us as a partner for about 2 years. She didn't ask for anything. She just believes in the cause, and her business was getting too busy to do both. So
Mhm.
we had a lawyer, web designer, and a graphic designer. Jennifer is the scientist. Me is the creative. As we've grown, Alex is still with us. And then
Mhm.
we've added in this young woman. She's awesome, named Jenny. And Jenny she actually started out as a TikTok message that said, I love what you guys are doing. I have autism. I just got my bookkeeper's license. I need to be a part of the resistance. I don't know what I can do. And we jumped on a Google Meet. And so she became our bookkeeper, went back and just killed it fixing up the books where
Nice.
I was doing it. And I'm not great. I did my best, but she fixed all that. So she started giving us like monthly reports. Basically, I came to the point I was like, guys, we need to make her a partner and bring her on as our CFO. And
Nice.
so we did. She bought into the company, and so now we have a CFO. A friend of mine that was working with us, he was sick of the restaurant industry. He had opened a restaurant and had to close it during the pandemic, and just was sick of that whole world. Came on, was
Mhm.
working for us, and then he ended up becoming a partner, and he is now our production operations manager. So all these parts to
Awesome.
the puzzle have to come together. So to
Mhm.
have an ethos that is paying a living wage, which we're on our way to be able to do. We're so
Yeah.
close. We start at $20 an hour, but we're
Mhm.
trying to get to 27, which is the living wage. To do all those things without venture capital is difficult. So the fact that we did 1.2 million in sales in the last 12 months, in 6 years, as a
Mhm.
company that does not outsource, does it sustainably, etc. Mind you, last year we spent $2,400 total in advertising. So that's all organic growth. That's all community
Yep.
growth. And that's what the idea was build this community of people
Mhm.
that give a cluck, that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Yeah.
Okay, my friends, this is everything you ever wanted to know about soap, but we're afraid to ask. So this is the nitty gritty business part right here. I know actually what you mean when you're talking about your production facility, etc. But please explain to people how important it was to like have a CFO, how important it was to get your duckies in a row, because I know that you have to go source and buy the raw materials, which
Mhm.
are commodities, and have to figure out like when to buy, when to onboard, stockpile, etc. Then you're going to have to cure that soap. Like, explain to
Mhm.
us the granular, like how the sausage is made, but how the soap is made.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Mhm.
from the beginning of the process, of course, now let me preface this by saying I
Mhm.
designed an entire ecosystem in Google Sheets that works through JavaScript that is
Okay.
about 20,000 lines of code across 3 different workbooks. And what it does is it automates. I did this for 2 reasons. A, because I'm if somebody was asking me how much could we make of a product,
Mhm.
I'm ADHD, and task switching is very tough for me. And sometimes it's just overwhelming to go down the stairs and weigh it out. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, I need to know what's on the shelf. Secondly, I need to know what my costs are, what my margins are. I need to do all this stuff. But thirdly, we're a small business. We couldn't afford the software that did this. And
Yeah.
so I designed this entire system with using macro drawings as submit buttons in Sheets, where basically when you have an order come in, or when you order something, raw material, you put it in the order, put how much, etc. You submit it. It goes into a order transit sheet. You put in the order number and the tracking. And then when it arrives, you put the amount, or if it's a partial amount, that amount, it subtracts it, but then it puts it in arrived, adds it to a history. And when you make something, you choose what you're going to make. First, it shows you how many, it pops up how many you can make with what materials you have in house. Then you put the amount you made, who made it, note, submit it. That goes into production history. Then I built this entire production system that looks at velocity of sales. It looks at inventory, and it calculates based on a buffer of 14 days for turnaround and 30 days for curing, about a 45-day of what needs to be made and how much, based on either a baseline inventory that I want to keep in the shelf or on trajectory of sales. So this whole system then is tied to a cost analysis system, which I go through and I just update one raw material. It updates every product with their costs, and then I built an entire profit margin matrix where I can work in all the cogs. So I can look at I can add my cogs and have my cost, and I can keep an eye on my overall cost efficiency, my profit margin matrix. So
how the fuck did you know how to do that, Trevor?
So here's the thing. I am not a fan of generative AI for many reasons.
No, me either.
However, I know that we are already behind the 8 ball as a small business in this country, and I'm going to use tools at my disposal. I didn't know how to code. So I have recently switched from ChatGPT after they signed with the military. I went over to Claude because I still there's stuff like that I need to do, and I use it as a tool. But I'm using it as a tool to bring down a system that, it's kind of like the lesser of two evils. Like I know I can't get there without. So I learned how to code, and I knew my destination on the map. And so I basically had ChatGPT at the time help me build the roadmap. And so this system we still use today, and it's all fed with direct data from Mipler advanced reports on our Shopify. So we're getting data poured in every day through MQL formulas, and I can keep up. So all of that to give you the preface to say, there's a lot that goes into ordering. And like you said, when to order, I built another one that looks at the NASDAQ. It looks at the weather app, and it looks at growing seasons, and I can look at projections of olive oil cost, because it's looking at all these regions around the world where it's grown and whatnot, where we get it. So there's a lot of different things that we have to look at. But the soap making process itself, are basically making soap is saponification is the process of making soap. You have oils that are going to be turned into salt. So soap is really just a salt. And you use water as the vehicle to introduce the sodium hydroxide, or lye, which is toxic, which is actually also used in pretzels. So a lot of people don't know that. But it is toxic. It can burn through your skin.
Wild.
But the scientific experiment of it, which is so cool, the chemistry of it, is the lye absorbs in the water. The water and the oils are mixed together. And when you do that, it starts to saponify. It starts to turn the oils into a salt. Now, we cure it for 4 weeks. And the reason we do that is because that allows the water to evaporate out of the bar. It's no longer needed. The chemical process has already been completed. And so we do a 3 to 4 week curing process, which also means that we always need to be 10 steps ahead. And if we have a supply chain issue and stuff like that, it's not a quick turnaround. We can't just put in, new ink or do it. It's like a whole freaking thing. And so we have the production process of the soap. Now, as we were growing, at first we used wraps on our soaps, and that's just because it was cost effective. When we started printing them at home and cutting them ourselves, and then found a printer to do them. And then the reason we didn't do boxes at first is, as you know, with packaging, you don't get into bulk pricing until you get into 2,000 boxes. But once we hit that level, what we had done is we'd spent the first 3 years building data analytics. What scents were the best sellers? We actually had data sets. We could actually tell what we wanted to move forward with. So we went we had about 28 over the first 3 years, and we pared down to our main 12, which is our cock line, which is our traditionally more masculine line, which also has on the box he, she, they, because scent is for everybody. Our fruits and citrus, she, he, they. Our floral, she, he, them. And then our non-binary line, they, them. And so we pared it down to those 12. And so once they're produced, which is, we make roughly right now, we can do about 1,000 bars a day. We have 2 master soap makers, and then we have an apprentice, but we also do other things. So we make our greases, we make our poo bars, all that stuff. But we then have to cut and stamp. Now we have a cutter that I bought the actual cutter itself, but I designed a system, because it's a manual cutter with a winch system that goes down. I learned how to weld for this. That goes down, back up, and it pulls the cutter down through the block. and it makes loaves. And then we got to turn the loaf sideways, got to cut the bars, and then we
Yep.
hand stamp every single one. So there's just a lot of labor intensive stuff there, and stuff that can be automated down the road, but I'd rather not. I'd rather have someone working. I'd rather have that be somebody's job. Yeah. And so, but all of that slows down the process as well.
I think the basic question was, how the fuck did you know how to do all this? But I have really never heard a more like entrepreneurial sentence than, so I had to learn how to weld for that.
Yeah. Here's the thing is, there
Like,
are
you are the
blessings and
person.
curses to being ADHD. There are blessings and curses to it. And one of the blessings of ADHD is, and I don't like the word blessings, I don't know why I use it, but blessing and curse is that I can hyper focus, and if the dopamine is there, I will get it done. I will make it happen. Like when we moved into this facility, it was wild. I will tell you this. When you align with the universe, when you align with everything and how your ethos, your ideology, the universe aligns with you. We have never fought for anything. We have worked our asses off. We've bled, we've sweat, we've had tears, but everything just lays itself out in front of us when we need it. It just arrives. We've never actually had every employee that we have called us.
Nice.
You know what I mean? They're like, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of this. And so, or they showed up for us. Like when we had a big viral one last year, I put out a call to action on my Facebook, and I just like, I need help. We had people volunteering, just showing up to volunteer. And so one day we were at our other facility, the first one we moved into, and the landlord knocks on the door, and I hadn't really spoken to him much, but he comes in, he's very high energy and he's awesome. He goes, hey, so I've seen you guys everywhere. I see you popping up at Turnip Truck. I see you all over the place. He's like, I know you're growing. Do you guys want to be in a bigger space? He's like, yeah, we do. We can't really, it's kind of a catch-22. We can't get bigger unless we have more space, and we can't get more space unless we get bigger. And so he was like, come with me. And so he took me over to a unit across the way, twice the size. And so he showed me around. It was I think a countertop maker was in here at the time. Anyways, the guy had some money issues. They were having to be out. And so the space was great. It was dust everywhere. It was dirty, a lot to do. But he looks at me and he goes, here's the deal. I will give this to you 600 under what we were going to put it out to rent. I'll give it to you for 600 under, but you need to let me know in the next 30 minutes, and you'll need to move it in 11 days. This is the end of October. We're about to go into our busiest season of the holiday season. And I had to look at him and just executive decision CEO that shit, just be like, yep, we'll take it. No clue how we're going to afford this thing. It's doubling our rent. And we're going into January, February, March, which are our slowest season, because at that time we were mostly live event in-person sales and wholesale. We didn't have a huge social media presence. I hadn't really leaned into that. I was very strategic about building our community presence first, our in-person farmers markets events, then taking a foray into wholesale, just getting the toe wet, and really supporting those stores, and then building that to the point where then last year was the year I told everyone, I said, okay, we're taking on social media. We're going to take on our online campaign, marketing, etc. And so we moved into this spot, and I got there at 7:00 on Halloween, October 31st. I got the keys and I got in there, and I had to first blow the whole thing out. I got a blower, sweep it. There was stacks of wood. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff. And our landlord actually provided their workers as movers for us, but they were going to be there at 6 a.m. So I had to have it ready for stuff to start moving in. So I went all night, dust off the trusses, everything, got it mopped, got it ready, and then painted one wall. I got one wall painted. The movers showed up, and I'm having to and they're just putting it down and rolling. And Josiah, our partner now, I'm just like, put it over there. I'm in my mind having to go where this room, I have to have the picture of it, where it's how everything's set up for flow and process, etc. And so everything's just coming in on just over there. We got to the point where we were making the joke. We were just, when we're going around the room, we're just going waka 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 waka, super Pac-Man in there. And so we finally we get that day to the end of the day, and then I keep going, and then I paint all night because we need to start getting stuff back against the walls. So I went for 48 straight, slept for 8, went for 48 straight. I had to sleep to production in 6 days, full production in 6 days. And then we took on the upstairs after a couple months later. But that's the kind of thing that, the dopamine hits, and I know it needs to be done, but I'm also excited and I see the potential. I will put on that kind of a performance, but I also sometimes can't pick up the sock that's been on the floor for a week.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that is the blessing and curse of this. But I built this entire ecosystem, this database I built. I probably put 160 hours into that. You know, the other reason is this, is that I want this to be something where when we get to the other side of this, if I really want to be able to bring in other small businesses, other small business
Mhm.
owners that have the ideology and be
Mhm.
able to provide resources that they don't have, knowledge that they don't have. And because of my brain, because I'm able to do a lot of different things, a lot of times they might not have that same skill set of being just kind of a chaotic gremlin that is able to take on anything. But
Yep.
being a chaos gremlin is a it's great for business ownership because I'm able to do so many
It
things.
sure
But
is.
my goal is to replace myself at every level.
Yeah.
I say up and to the point, and I don't say this lightly, I want to replace myself as CEO. When I
Mhm.
find the person that can take this, I can hand the baton to build the next level, to build
Mhm.
something that is bigger than I can be on my own, I will do that. It is not
Mhm.
about me. This is about the mission. It's about building something that we can believe in, and like I said, create the reality we want to live in. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love it. I love it because I keep thinking, as I'm thinking of every industry, like when I came back into Sticker Janky, my original intention was to build it and sell it. And then
mhm,
I sort of hadn't been, I have been retired for 7 years. So I didn't see how destructive private equity was. I didn't see how badly workers were being treated. I didn't
yeah,
see how very, very quickly and very, very badly that the wage disparities have gotten, et cetera. I just wasn't seeing it because I was just drinking marijuana tea and hiking my dog every day in Sedona and
yeah,
retired.
sounds lovely.
And yeah, it was. It really was a nice 7 years. And so as I came out of retirement, went back into these companies, I was like, whoa, what the fuck? We need to
Uh-huh.
way do businesses like we had in the 70s where people are well paid, where you have a retirement fund, where
Yeah,
everyone is thriving, etc. And so I just really started to think like what every single industry needs is people like us having big companies in that industry, small, medium sized, and large companies in those industries. Because if people start to begin to buy differently, the whole ecosystem immediately changes because
yeah,
then you have very powerful people with a lot of money who are not hoarding money,
right.
who are just making sure
We
everyone
made
wins.
big businesses big businesses. We did that.
That's right.
We can
Yeah.
choose which ones we want to do it with next, and I think that's what all why I love what is happening in this small business environment is, and especially during this time,
Yeah.
businesses are rising up and we're seeing where to put our money, we're seeing where
Yep.
to shop, and that's just the beginning. This was the awakening. This is the most unpopular thing I will ever say, but Donald Trump was the best thing to happen to this country. He exposed all the cracks, he exposed all the corruption, he
Yeah.
exposed all the bullshit, and
Yep.
he woke people up. He woke
Yeah.
us up and reminded us that this is not granted. Freedom is not granted, that having a sustainable life, being able to even freaking live,
Yeah.
like a cost of living, which I hate that phrase too. We shouldn't have to, it shouldn't cost money to live, but it woke people up.
Yeah.
And while I detest the man, I detest him, just the entire everything about him, he is a symptom of a disease, and the disease is what we are seeing in our country. It's what we're seeing,
Mhm.
in billionaires, and how people are having to
Yeah.
work 5 jobs just to be able to barely afford an apartment and choose between insulin in their apartment. This is not normal.
No.
Not in any other. I posted a meme this morning that just said, do we just give our taxes directly to the military industrial complex, and
Mhm.
skip the middleman? I mean, Congress will get paid in the back end anyways,
Mhm.
because it's not coming
It's
back to
wild.
us. Nothing is taking care of us anymore. So
No,
we have to do it.
it's insane. I was thinking really deeply about like, if someone is 80 and this is the tail end of their life and they have more money than they could possibly know what to do with in for their whole life, or if they're in their 60s and they're a multi-billionaire and they're not just like traveling the world and doing whatever their passion is, going and seeing every antique bookstore in Europe or
Mhm.
spending time with your family. What the fuck? Where the people who have already everything want to go bomb other countries to get even more instead of supporting ourselves with healthcare, with etc. They're buying media outlets to make
Mhm.
sure that people don't understand. Yo, you guys, your taxes should actually be paying for your life, and 0% of it should be going to large corporations, one of the
They
biggest
don't
places
play
that
by
we're
our
spending our
rules,
money.
and I know that is not the popular opinion in business.
Right.
I
Yeah.
know it's not. And the
Mhm.
problem is I'm not opposed to capitalism. I just
Mhm.
want to see balanced capitalism, human, environmental, and financial. Right now we are leaning on the financial capitalism entirely, and the ship is going
Right.
to tip. It is tipping. Unfettered capitalism will destroy us.
Mhm.
There's no way it can end right. It can't end good. It can't. It's not possible.
Mhm.
Eventually all the wealth is at the top, and then what do you have? You have a slave class. And that's what they want.
Yeah, there is a saying that Esther Hicks says, things will fall of their own economic weight, and we are at that point.
Mhm.
And I have a slightly different ethos because I am certain that I will be quite wealthy. However,
Mhm.
so will every single person in my whole entire ecosystem. Then we will set up an ecosystem to help other companies do that because I truly believe we really actually, very similar to like in the Reagan era 80s, there was a 40-year campaign by the alt-right to get us to where we are right now. I have like a 30-year plan in mind to take over every single industry and put it into the hands of people who are paying a living wage. I had this whole idea of like a franchise system for every single different type of big restaurant. You have the big boys, right? You have Olive Garden, whoever the big ones are, big ones, but with better food. And then the franchisees max own 7 locations. So everybody is really wealthy. Everybody is really happy
Yeah.
with it. And then it stays in an ecosystem where everyone is just doing well, but I mean everyone. The line cook, the
Yeah.
dishwasher,
And
everyone is
remember,
doing well.
we were almost there in the early 80s. We were
Yeah,
almost there. The
we were.
problem
Yeah.
is it's how do we set the system up with checks and balances so that the one greedy narcissist doesn't get in and collapse
Mhm.
the whole. Always the issue. That's always the
It
problem.
is.
How do we mitigate that? So almost like putting it in a trust,
Mhm.
because when you're gone, will the next person do it that way? And we
Yes,
see how
exactly.
that can be degraded.
Yep,
What, like when you
exactly.
said you're going to be well, that is wealth. That to me is wealth.
True well.
It's not a
Yeah.
number figure. It's for
Yeah.
me. That's not a number figure. It's doing stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
creating a better world around you. And when other people are
Exactly.
thriving, I'm going to thrive. Fretting every day over whether you're going to eat or get medicine, or whether you're going to pay your bills, or if you're sick and you have to go to work anyways, or you have a baby and you have to be back at work next week, and who's going to how much is the child
Crazy.
care? It's insanity. And
Mhm.
that world, there is limited joy in that, and it for everybody,
Right.
especially if you're not part of the Epstein class. We can say that, right?
Exactly.
You
I
say
call them the predator class, but I mean,
that's
it's
fine.
very accurate.
Those people,
Epstein class, predator class equivalent. Because the
those
thing that
people.
I keep going back to is I know a lot of very, very extraordinarily wealthy people who are legit good people and who just give money all over the
Yeah.
place. Especially being a quant trader, as I flip trades, I can just keep re-infusing money
Mm-hmm.
into the society because once I have my number, and it's a big number, baby, I want a fucking nice house, okay? And
Yeah.
I want, sticker junkie to have a huge campus. I have the whole idea in my mind of this like couple hundred acres and like a farm on there
Mm-hmm.
and dog parks, childcare,
I love it.
everything that you
That
could
sounds
possibly
wonderful.
want. Yes. And then like bring in small business collectives and do super fun stuff and have shows because obviously I started the Winston House and just have it be like the best vibe ever. And I'm like, why the
Yeah.
fuck does every business want to do that if they have $1 billion? What on earth would I need $1 billion in my pocket for?
Right.
Instead of every time I hear a billionaire say, oh, I'm going to give away 99% of my wealth. I'm like, do you know what a self congratulatory fucking asshole you sound like right now? Because if instead you paid every single one of your hundreds of thousands of employees well and allowed
Mm-hmm.
them to do what they wanted to do with their extra money that they have, because even talking about getting up to a living wage, I know you guys are in Nashville, so 27 an hour. I'm in San Diego, it's 32 an hour. I would argue it's more like 34 now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so far away. I saw the shockwaves as the Kimberly Clark warehouse went up and people were like, well, they're paying $23, $24, $25 an hour. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, it costs like $34, $35 an hour to live up in Ontario. And
Mm-hmm.
so if there were more people with the ethos that were wealthy of just like, let's infuse all of this back into a great society, into our local communities, our state community, our national community in a way that helps benefit everyone and make them thrive. That
But then
is
how
the
are they going
ethos
to
that
win
needs to be.
capitalism? How are
That's
they
right.
going to win? They have to win capitalism
That is
somehow.
winning. That is truly
I'm
winning. That
telling
is
you, I
truly
agree
winning.
so much with it. When you
Yeah.
hit 999 million, you get a freaking trophy. You won capitalism. The rest goes back to the fucking economy,
There
goes
you
back to
go.
the people. Like,
There you
we're
go.
done. You
There you
don't
go.
need that
Yeah.
much. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yes, that's the thing is when I say I don't want to be wealthy, it's not that I don't want to have that money. I don't need that money to stay with me. It needs to go back into doing these kind of things. That's it. It's not about creating a wealth gap, me being above anyone else. I don't need that. I just want to have people around me that I actually want to associate with, that are happy and that are thriving. And you know what? That makes our whole world better.
It does. It does. And the problem with billionaires, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's the stagnation of wealth. It's that they're not infusing money back into the economy. Because if you look at multimillionaires, generally speaking, they're spending more than they have. They're doing fun stuff. They're taking vacations. They're buying houses. They're doing constant, consistent construction on their houses. And then they're like, oh, it'd be fun to flip this and sell another house. All of that employs tons and tons of people. And it helps our supply chain. It helps everything continue to flow. It's the taking out and just like putting it in a bank account somewhere and doing nothing with it. That is real bad. That is real bad for an economy.
Objective to be the richest man in the world or whatever the case is.
So weird.
Yeah, it's a dick measuring contest, and it's just ridiculous. I said ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Well done.
It's madness. Yeah. So no, that's it. I mean, we've solved capitalism to do it the right way. It's just a matter of, can we inspire others to believe it's possible? And you know, people call it a hyper focus. Well, if you learn how to manipulate and control your hyper focus, it really just becomes hyper learning. And so you learn how to do all these crazy things and are able to do it faster than people around you, than your peers. But like I said, it also comes with the curse part. You can get it to work. It's magic.
I love it. I love it. When I was doing the first, probably a little over a year that I lived in the warehouse and washed my hair in a sink and just legitimately worked every single minute that I was awake, I set a 7-minute timer to cry, because I did not have time to cry. I didn't have time to do anything.
Sure. Yeah.
And I kept thinking about the part that we're at right now. And right now, markedly more fun than the first year. However, I do still keep thinking a lot, because we're about to move into a bigger warehouse and we cannot yet afford to purchase the campus that I want to buy. But in about 1.5 to 2 years, we'll be able to. So I keep envisioning like the campus that we're going to buy, and everything that we're doing right now is to get to that point. It's not a lot of people that can actually, one foot in front of another, be like, I am going to climb a mountain for the next 2 years, and that is going to be my whole life, all that it's going to be, so that I can get to this end point day in, day out, every day. And you have to bake the cake to decorate the cake. So it is wild to do that kind of long-term planning.
The baking is messy. I mean, that's the messy part. But I'll tell you what, I love doing woodworking. I don't get to do it as much anymore, but that was another thing, is like, I loved building stuff, but it's the framing, just to get it to the point where you're like, you've got the thing where you can design it and you can actually like polish it and sand it, and like getting to that point. But that's so exciting. It's so fulfilling to have that final product, that it's worth all the blood, sweat, and tears to get there. And I like the 7 minutes of crying. That's excellent.
Yes, just to cry too. That was some very important cathartic stuff, especially when I had to go into the bowels of the IRS and be locked in a room and answer a bunch of questions. There was crying involved before that meeting. And
that's one of the things I try to remind myself and give myself grace, especially now, is that we're not only running a business, trying to grow a business, but we are using a platform for activism. And balancing that with selling a product. But then on top of that, we're in since you have a PBS shirt on, what PBS called the other day, or NPR, our station, called a permacrisis. Consistently being not just overwhelmed to the point where we aren't designed to take in as much information as we are being fed, first of all, with social media, with the news, with everything else going on. And I think that's the thing that we forget, is that none of this is normal, that everything was going on right now is chaos. So I think that's where we need to have the grace with, sometimes it is just time to stop, shut down, cry, do whatever you have to do. I touch grass every 2 months. There's this awesome tree house about an hour and a half away from here that I rent. It's got electric. It's got a waterfall, a 40-foot waterfall right next to it. It's on a cliff in the hills of Tennessee. I go out there. I don't get reception. I can get calls, but I go do not disturb. And I just touch grass. It's like connect with nature, have a fire every night, because of the fact it's such chaos, and it is so wild. I'll get back from 3 days, and the amount of information that I have to take in to catch up with what's happening in the world so that I can stay on top of it. You have every reason to feel like you're going mad, because we should not have to be facing all this. So I don't know if any business owners watching this, that is the one thing that I think we need to remember, especially, is that the business is important. Also, our mental health is important, and we need a balance for sure.
Seriously. I went, our sales were really low for Black Friday last year, like devastatingly low. Like we've never had such a bad Black Friday. I've been an entrepreneur for 34 years. I have never seen a Black Friday where we didn't have an uptick in revenue, which was cuckoo pants, crazy nuts. And so I dove into social media, and I would love to remind my audience, anybody that's new here and they're watching because Trevor is on, I did not own a television for my whole entire adult life, period. And I did not.
That one.
Yeah. I love it. And so I just read books and absorbed everything in slow format content. And I also was never on social media. Not really. You can see before I started coming back into this company, like 2 posts a year, 3 posts a year. And so when I went back in, I went 6 weeks full time. I took over our social media, which is why we blew up on social media. And the degree of bad that was for my mental health, I literally cannot possibly overstate it. It took me 2.5 months to recover from 6 weeks of being full time online. Because as I was scrolling, like I saw in real time when Renee Good was murdered. I saw in real time when Alex Peretti was assassinated by the US government, and they lied about it immediately and said, you didn't see what you just saw with your own eyes. We're not built for that. And because we've been so encouraged by the same people who own all media sources to forget that we live in a community and to be isolationist, we all individually are struggling with this ourselves, instead of just saying exactly what Trevor just said, like, yo, hey, give yourself and everybody around you a ton of grace, because this is way fucking not normal. This is beyond not normal. This is cuckoo pants crazy. Yes, it is. Absolutely. It is the tenet of fascism. And that's when I started to say at Alex Peretti's murder was, whoa, this is just straight up fascism. This is nothing else but that. And we need fucking immediately to stop this. So tell me about your guys' journey on, so I know we're coming to a close here soon, but I want to know how you guys blew up on social media, because you guys just got huge.
Yeah, honestly, I told my partners at the beginning of January 2025, I said, this is the year I'm going to focus on our social media presence, our online content. And, when Trump was coming back into office, I was like, we need to be vocally in opposition to this. It's not that we're anti-Trump, it's that we are pro-people, pro-environmentalism, pro-diversity. Exactly. We stand opposed to everything that he stands for. We are the Allied Business of the Year for Tennessee right now, and we've always created a safe space. And I don't want them coming around. I don't want bullies coming around and hurting our family. So I was like, here's the thing. We are going to be, from the beginning, we are going to be leaders. We're going to lead the way. I talked to my team. I said, but here's the thing. I want to be very clear. And if you want to get out, you want to get away from it now, you can do so. I will not judge you. We will get a lot of hate. Everyone understood and agreed. And so beginning of January, I started putting and we were always outspoken, mind you, we've always been outspoken, but I put out a few tester reels just to like put out our ideology. And then I knew the one reel that I had been working on that introduced Jennifer, had me in it. And I was like, this is the one, which basically, it was one that I basically said in it. There was a comment that said, oh, just another anti-Trump woke business. And I said, whoa, I'd like to clarify some things. And basically said, we've never supported people who cozy up to dictators. We've never liked anyone who doesn't believe women deserve bodily autonomy. So basically, we said who we were without making him special, like we were straight against him. And so I knew that that was the one I wanted to come out. And that one went absolutely apeshit. I put it out on Friday night. And I told my team, I was like, this is the one that's going to do it. And, the next morning, we were at an event. And it started going well that night. But we were setting up at this event the next day, and we got set up, and our phones were just ding, 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 ding. And I look online, and it's already at 30, 40,000 likes overnight.
Wow.
We ended up doing in one day 45,000 in sales. And wow, when you have a team that you have to then go, oh shit, we are not big enough to fulfill these orders. That's when I had people came in and volunteered and ended up staying and working for us or working with us. So you need to be able to facilitate the back end of any kind of bubble moment like that, a hockey stick growth. And so if I hadn't built that entire database, we wouldn't have survived. So what happened was we sold out of 5 months of projected inventory in 3 days.
Wow.
But I was able to look at the data in my sheet. I was able to look at the turnaround, how much we needed to make. And what we did was I pivoted very quickly. I was able to go and set a 30-day shipping profile, put out an attention due to high demand. Please allow up to 30 days for shipping at the top of the website. And I was able to make these little cards up that say, peep this. Due to high demand, we prefer to cure our soaps for 3 weeks. This one's only been cured a week. So what you need to do is take it and put it in your laundry drawers. It'll make everything smell amazing, and it'll allow it to cure. While it is safe to use, it will last longer if you do that. Welcome to the soap making process, basically. And so we made them
so
part of the soap making process. Basically, we were able to take $120,000 loan from our customers that a product we didn't have, because I was able to look at this database and this trajectory, see that we could have it ordered and made and out within that 30-day window. The blowing up on social media is something you have to be very careful with and plan for, because a moment like that knocked us on our heels. But if you weren't prepared, it knocks you on your ass, and you lose more customers in the long run and more money in the long run as a business if you can't keep up with that. Luckily, we were able to.
What I loved is that you talked about what we did in Sticker Junkie of taking that first 2.5 years to get processes, implementations, SOPs in place, because that is the reason that most people like on Shark Tank fail, or most people that hit a viral moment fail. And I liked what you said about like, it knocked us on our heels, but it didn't knock us on our ass, because we've had to be so careful. We have now finally, we've gotten to the point at Sticker Junkie where we're just about to do a big campaign with an influencer that has 10.4 million followers. Quantity of preparation that we've had to do was years worth of structure in order to be able to handle a viral moment. And that's where most people, I feel like, fail. Then also it's because they don't know how. And it feels like very intentional to me, because we also are a company that did not take private equity venture capital. So you have to be like a million times more mindful about the way that you're doing things. Otherwise you get this thing that you've been wishing for to go viral, and it can literally put people out of business. So how do you deal with that type of patience in the growing process? How would you recommend that to people?
There's never really, in that process, there's never time to be bored.
True.
So we're always working towards that goal. I think that's the thing, is it's finding, as owners, as CEOs, we have to have the macro. That's how we grow, is the macro of what this looks like 1, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, etc. But there's so much to do in the micro that it's the balance of getting into the micro, but stepping back and seeing the macro. That's your reminder. But then when we're working in the micro, every single task in that keeps me moving towards the next one. And so it's not really a matter of having, I have to make it patience with myself to get through mundane tasks that I don't want to do. But I have so many of those getting to that place that I don't get impatient, because I see growth. And I have to take those victories, the little victories every day. When I finally had an SOP book together, that had every formula, every SOP, how to make it, all that stuff. And I was able to, I got the spreadsheet with a hub where you can go find them all. That was such a win. And then it's just on to the next win, and it's on to the next win. And then of course, step back. Okay, how are we doing on trajectory for
anyone new, SOP is a standard operating procedures manual, so that everybody in your company knows exactly how to do any particular task or create any particular item. Just for any of our non-entrepreneurs that are listening.
Listen, when I first started doing this, I dropped out of college. I went 1 year. I hated it. Yeah. And so I definitely don't have any business school, anything like that. And so that's the cool thing, is just, it's constant learning. It's constant something new. Yep. And are you willing to rise to the occasion? And are you willing to think ahead into how you can build something that has lasting power and sustainability, and not just something that is one and done, one hit wonder, blow up, and that's why all these things are so important. The standard operating procedures, the processes, etc. It's the baking the cake.
It is. And we're finding at Sticker Junkie that it's actually quite easy for us now, because we're differentiating ourselves so much just by like giving a shit and just by like paying our people well, and by consistently just letting people know like, hey, oh, by the fucking way, if you work for a place and you ship boxes, you should make well above a living wage when that company is thriving and solvent. You should literally be able to travel the world, buy a house, have kids, shipping boxes for us.
Right.
That should be expected, that every person on the team gets that. And we have a 7x up. So the C team will never make more than 7 times the lowest person. It's not even double now at all, but
well, my staff
eventually. Eventually, when we get there,
Yeah.
it will be 7x up at the out. And we're finding that so many people resonate with that. And because we have obviously our competitor is running for Elise Stefanik's congressional seat on an ultra MAGA agenda right now. Yes, please, let's go. That's the best thing that could ever have happened to us. Because so many people are just like, so we think no.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like that, to have that kind of a rivalry is excellent.
It's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. Yep.
No,
I'm like, say something else, bro. But I'm finding in general, the people that I know that do have companies that are speaking up as they're leaning into like, hey, you're going to buy soap anyway. You're going to buy coffee anyway. You're going to buy stickers anyway. It sure would be great if you were supporting a company that supports their employees, because you directly are supporting our whole staff when you buy from us. And we couldn't possibly appreciate you more. It's crazy how every company doesn't think that way, because it also increases your bottom line when you have engaged people. Like, you don't have turnover, which is profoundly expensive. Like, it's just so weird, the world that we're living in. Okay, we're going to take this out on some of your best advice for somebody that is like struggling right now in this economy as an entrepreneur. What would you say to them right now?
Man, that's so tough. Honestly, I think if the reason you're doing it is more important than the money, if it's mission before money, remember that you're working in alignment with the universe. You're working towards a goal that betters humanity, society, your community, your employees. Don't quit on that. And even when it gets tough, remember that you can streamline if you need to, but if the mission comes first, that I think those are the businesses that will survive. At the end of the day, you're not going to change the world alone. I would recommend making sure that you're talking with other business owners and making sure that, because the voice in your head's going to get loudest. And a lot of times, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, you're going to be neurospicy, and we have that internal monologue, and it can freak out, and it tries to tell us all the worst things. And I think that's why even just stuff like this, like us speaking, speak to other entrepreneurs, find yourself a circle, a group of people that reminds you you're not crazy, that you're feeling the same insanity that they are, and they're feeling what you're feeling. But it makes you feel less alone. As far as the mental health of being an owner, I think it's balance for sure. And it's the ability to connect and understand that you aren't alone, and we're all feeling it.
Yeah. I love it. That's literally the same thing that I was thinking of. Like, I always think of everything I'm doing as building community. So my customers are my community, my clients, my social media followers that follow the Sticker Junkie journey that maybe don't even need stickers. They're my community. I have a community of entrepreneurial business owners, and then I have wider communities, because that is what's been destroyed over the last 40 years is community in the United States. And we've been so encouraged to lead, like, you should be able to do this just by yourself. And if you aren't winning, then that's your fault. That's been the pervasive last 40 years of messaging to America. And it's insane. We are a community. And so, yeah, I like it a lot.
And then they have us blame the person beneath us, and they say, that's the reason you're poor. Like, oh, but it's not.
Super duper not. Super duper not. Well, thanks for coming on, Trevor. I just appreciate you so much. And you guys, go check out MyCluckHut. They have great products. I have Monty Mater's specialty. Yes. And then I also have Rico's favorite, the poo bar.
The puppy poo. We just took the sham out of shampoo, so no more plastic, toxins, chemicals.
I love it. I love it.
We also...
I bite fascists on the back.
Our Stormy Daniels tiny cock soap that we did with Stormy Daniels. It's just a little rooster right there.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. For you guys, for audio only, we are holding up the MyCluckHut soaps. Check them out. And they do also have dog soap. And you can get this little very cute pouch to put the soap in, and you can just rub it all over and lather it all up. And Rico loves it. And then he smells great. So definitely go check them out.
And dryness, it stops all that. Yeah,
so awesome. Good. That's what you get when you get homemade, really good organic products.
You get good stuff.
You get the good stuff.
It's the good stuff, man. We're nerdy. That's all. We're just nerdy.
It really is true. It really is true. You actually do want a neurospicy, super nerdy person to solve every problem, including soap. and soap, film, and
Right?
dryness. All yes, literally is true. Well, and thank you so much, Trevor, for being on. And also, Trevor is going to come and do a dirty tea episode. Oh, that's right, kiddos, where mommy has a little adult beverage and perhaps smokes a little marijuana and answers anything about the journey of rebuilding my sticker empire on one of the upcoming episodes of Andrea Lake 101, The Making of a Billionaire. Thanks for joining us for this session of the Water Cooler. Trevor, appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Until next time, grab your popcorn, grab your wine, and I will come in piping hot with all of the tea.